I have remade the CSCI 205 webpage and remade it so today we can look at how to create links, hyperlinks. And all the stuff we're going to do today is linking to external pages and maybe some images that we're storing in GitHub. Alright, so here is the outline of the page. Have some titles here, links to other external web pages. We have external pages, a link to a video on YouTube. Oh, and these are external pages. And the link to YouTube is obviously external. And then some internal stuff. I have uploaded a bunch of images to GitHub and then created links to them. And then I also put one of the pictures right inside the web page. So we're going to have to take a look at that, and I think we should modify this a little bit because obviously that picture's a bit large for the page as it is now. And then finally at the end, I've created a downloadable version of the YouTube video from up above. So if you click on that, it gives you an option to download it. So it's kind of nice sometimes if you have a free video that if you link to give it something you can download. So these are, sort of the basics of different kinds of hyperlinks that you might encounter on the web, and I thought we'd go through and link how to, or show how to do those. Okay, so I'm going to step through some of the basics here first. The first thing is I needed to have those images and this video stored on GitHub. So all this is coming through a GitHub webpage, and if you look at, oh, hang on a second. I just got to grab this CSCI 205 GitHub webpage. All right, so going into GitHub and looking at the folders are up there. On GitHub, I now have two new folders, images and videos. Those weren't here before. And I've redone index.html. So how did I create these? Well, these are the images that I'm going to display on the web page. Oops, went too far. And this is the video. I said it's videos, but this is the video that I'm going to allow to download. So obviously the link that links to YouTube, I wouldn't have to have this video up on GitHub to do that. But to create the downloadable link, I had to do that. So first of all, I had to create these directories. So the way I did that actually was in Windows Explorer. This is where on my local computer all the web page documents are stored. So this is what we created in the last video, csci205.github.io. And this is actually a GitHub repository, remember? And then I just created two subdirectories, images and videos, and I put the images in images that I wanted and videos that I wanted. And then once I had those created, I came over to PyCharm and opened up that folder, csci205.github.io. Of course, those directories are in there, but then I right-clicked on them, came down to Git, and clicked on the add. Actually, not sure why this is even here anymore. So I added them to the GitHub repository. When I did that, then the next time I pushed up my save changes, it added the images and videos directories to those and pushed them up to GitHub for me. So I thought that was probably the easiest way to do all of this. Okay, so getting into then the actual creation of the web page. Unfortunately, this is kind of big, so I don't know, maybe it looks a little more intimidating than it needs to, but I'm going to just go through some of the code here. So first of all, we have the head again. This is an HTML document. This prints out the header at the top of the tab. So a demo for creating hyperlinks, that's the tab title. And then I'm using different styles to create subject headings. So links to external web pages I have as an H3, and then external pages I have as an H4. A link to a video on YouTube I have as an H4. And then I started a paragraph creating some links to some created computer science related material. I put a break in between these two links, and then here is the code for creating a hyperlink. So you start off with an A, and this is then a hypertext reference, and then here you put in the text for the web page. So if you go to www.codeacademy.com, that is a web page for learning different programming languages. I actually like that website a lot. When you do searches for different kinds of coding, sorry, getting off to an aside here, this is not the first one that comes up. But the first one that often comes up on my browser seems to be a computer-generated coding academy, and I just don't like it. So anyways, Code Academy I think is pretty well done. And so I created a link, so it's hypertext reference to Code Academy, and then this is what gets printed on the web page. So if I go over here, back to the web page, up at the top, we'll see a link for Code Academy. And then if I changed this to say just code, then over here you would see just code for that link. The second one looks slightly different. It's got the hypertext reference to a web page. This is actually the CSCI 157 web page, but it's got this target equals blank. So the difference between those two is that if I click on, a lot going on here. If I click on the Code Academy link, then Code Academy loads up right in this page. Problem with doing this is it's going to start this stupid video again. If I click on the CSCI 157 web page, it opens in a new tab. So you can actually put in here a target where you want it to open up if you want it in a new page or a new tab, whatever. But if you just put target equals blank, it'll open up in a new tab for you. Otherwise, these are basically the same kind of link. If you want to link to something on YouTube, then the way to do that is put it in an iframe, so that's an internal frame. Specify the width and the height, and then just go to the source. So the source is going to be youtube.com embed, and then when you upload a video to YouTube, it gives you some kind of code. So here's the code for the video that I have uploaded to my own personal YouTube page, and then autoplay equals 1. It's turned out to be kind of a pain in the neck because every time that page loads, it starts playing the video again. So every time I click on a link and come back, the video starts playing. I'm not sure that's how I would do it, but it gives you a quick demo on how autoplay works. If you want to check out the other options for autoplay, they're out there on the internet. I'll be a little lazy on that one. All right, links to internal web pages. So I have these images that I've uploaded, and these are actually got a safe off from my dad. My dad used to own a business. He had a safe. The safe had been stored out in a barn, got pretty beat up, so I restored it. Not really relevant to this, except for now I have made this web page. It has images of the restoration on there. So these all look like what we saw above. We have a hypertext reference, but in this case, instead of linking to the World Wide Web, I'm actually linking to the images folder, which is inside the folder where index.html lives. Remember index.html? That is the main page for your web page. So there's an images folder where that lives. So we go into the images folder and we start picking out JPEGs. And again, this is supposed to open up in a new page. And then I just put a little description on these so that you can go over here and click on these images. And so we see these images load up. Yeah, see, it was kind of beat up and rusty. And then you can click down through those and clean it up a little bit, doing some sandblasting. Now, so I'm sort of telling a story and telling you how to code. Here's the painted version. Pictures aren't brilliant. Okay, so again, this is the standard sort of stuff that we talked about before. You create a hyperlink, and you create this tells it where to find what it's linking to. This tells it to open a new page, and then this is a description, or this is actually the text that's going to be printed for the link. So we haven't gotten into how to format any of these things. You can change the colors of the links and all that stuff. We haven't done any of that. Notice that I put all of these in a paragraph, so that kind of sets them off into a paragraph and takes care of the line breaks between that. And then inside of each one of these, I put a break so that they're all on their own line. Without these breaks, you would just have a bunch of links strewn together straight across. And then to get a downloadable version of the YouTube video, so the YouTube video was stored in videos. Not surprisingly, there it is. So it's in that subdirectory. So I just create a link to that, and then here I just put in a keyword download, and then I called it download. This is relatively new. It's an HTML5, and I'm not sure that all browsers support it. All browsers should support it, but maybe they all don't. So it works just fine in my browser. So if I click on download, and it brings up a download window. So, Windows, HTML, they sort of handle all that for you. And all the, you don't have to create your own dialog box that says download and then, let the user select where they're going to save it and all that stuff. All that stuff is automatically handled for you, so that's kind of nice. Let's see. Oh, so we have one little problem here. These are all links to those images, but the problem is that when you look at this, you got a bunch of links that you sort of have to, you have to click on to go through them. Thought it might be nice, maybe I could just embed the image. So I embedded one of the images, and to do that, just called it an image, and it has a source, and so this should look familiar. It's the same thing as we had up here, the folder and the file name for the picture. And then this is the back of the safe, so I called it back. So this is alternative text. So if the image can't be loaded for some reason in the browser, then the browser will just print out back, which may or may not be useful. But you see that when I do this, I get this big honking picture, which is really awkward. So there are ways around this, and the basic thing that we want to change here is the size. Well, we want to change the size of the image. So we've got the command here. We want to put it in a width and a height. So the question then is, what should the width and the height be? So we're going to have to go and figure that out. So to do this, now we want the image to look sort of like it does in the original. So let me go find, here, let me change what I'm going to say here. What we want to do here, I don't want to do this way. We're going to specify width and height tags. These are going to be in pixels. Thank you, PyCharm. These are going to be in pixels. So the question is then, how big should they be? Now, I could just put in 100 pixels here and 300 here. The problem is I got to know the right proportions for this image, otherwise it's going to look distorted. So if the original image was, say, 600 by 800, then that's a ratio of 3 to 4. If I force this into a ratio of 1 to 3, then this image is going to be a lot wider than it should be, and it's just going to look funky. So we need to go get some image information here. And let me see if I can find that image. Where did you go? Oh, it should be called back, right? There we go. Okay, so we can see that this is actually a lot taller than it is wide, or at least appears to be that way. So it's 1840 by 3264. 4. Now, let's say that I want, I don't know, I want it to be 1/8 of that size. All right, we're going to do a little math here. So I want 1840 divided by 8. I'm going to cheat, I guess. Oop. What is it? Oh, I know what's going on. I got my browser open on another screen. I'm trying to open up this browser. All right, so yeah, we can do this in our head. So I want 230. What did I say? A 16th? Well, we're gonna make it an 1/8. What did I just say that was? 230. Okay, so we're gonna make this 230, and then the height. Going back to here, let's see, that was 3264, so we're going to divide that by 8. That's 408. And then I'm going to push this up to GitHub and see what we get. Yeah, I did push it. Let's see. All right, we're going to get a pause for a second while I push this thing. Okay, well, now I've pushed it up there, and we want to wait a second for GitHub to do its thing. I just wanted to point something out. If you want to look at web pages and look at their code, you can do that. Let's see, how did I do this before? So I'm in Firefox. There's, different browsers are going to have different ways to do this, but I think if I just right-click on this and click Inspect Element, and magically, hey, look, here's all the HTML code for this web page. Well, maybe not all of it. What did it do? Oh, so if you click on the paragraphs, it'll open them up so you can see what's inside of them. All right, let's see if that was enough time to let this thing reload itself. If not, we'll just pause the tape. All right, I'm going to pause and come back in a minute. Okay, I got it to reload, and there is our smaller image.